Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Awaken the World Quick Talk. Today, techniques for dealing with unconscious relationships. You are here live on the Awaken the World YouTube channel. It is 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And hello. So I'm flying solo today, and we're a minute or so early, so we're just going to give it a minute. And it's a beautiful rainy day out here today. Just beautiful rainy spring day. I absolutely love it. I see that Cindy's here. Hello, Cindy. So nice to see you. Kelly actually has a piano lesson underway, so I'm kind of flying solo today. This is going to be a really great little talk today. It maybe won't be quite so quick. You know, as we're waking up, we face a lot of obstacles, puzzles, okay, in our unconscious society and in all the relationships in which there are still a lot of unconscious people we're involved with. And I want to be quite clear about something. You know, everyone is evolving. Everyone is, it's the whole of humanity. It just appears, you know, that one evolves in front of the other. And they do in some way, but it's a collective. But of course, we notice in family relationships especially, if there is one person whose consciousness has become raised, or they're raising their consciousness, they become aware of their ability to join in co-creation with that conscious awareness. It can be very difficult when the rest of the family members are asleep, or you're in a relationship and you're waking up, you're seeing a larger picture, but your partner simply is not. Now, that doesn't mean that we want to go ahead and dump those relationships on the street. Although, in a lot of cases, it's going to occur in some way or another, and that's okay. The main issue here, you know, and I've seen a lot of people fall into this trap. They have this one awakening moment and they don't understand that. Now they've got to work through all of that ego identification yet. And they go ahead and throw out all their relationships, all their job, their home, everything. They strip themselves of everything. And they end up falling apart because nothing goes the way they thought it would go. And that's because ego is still very much at play in that, okay? So this is not about getting away from those relationships. This is actually about learning how to deal with those relationships. And I'm going to explain to you why. Each of us has the ability in our awakening, we're putting out a vibration. You know, I spend a couple hours at a little convenience store helping out a beautiful couple. And they have beautiful kids who come to Kelly for piano. As a matter of fact, they're doing piano right now. And, you know, the mother of had said to me, I'm going to stay with you for this couple hours and learn customer service from you. And I thought, okay, that's great. That's wonderful. But see, I don't practice customer service. And this is what I said to her. I said, you know, what I practice instead is the art of the smile and humor. And then I can deliver anything to people and it still becomes a positive experience. And this is this is part of what we can offer in our awakening consciousness when we're dealing with unconscious relationships. Again, running away from them is not necessarily the answer. Although in situations where we find ourselves continually abused, it may be the only choice. And you have to make that choice for yourself out of an objective protection and safety of your own being. Okay? It's very important. So those relationships that we do stay in or do stay involved in that involve a lot of unconscious people who have not woken to the higher reality of their being yet, we can find ourselves very much pressed to be caught up in those unconscious egoic behaviors. And yeah, I liken it kind of to the crab bucket technique, or sorry, the crab bucket mentality, where, you know, if you put a whole bunch of crabs in a bucket, if one tries to get out, the other crabs will pull it back in. And it's not that your friends or family are necessarily doing this out of anything other than love. They just simply don't understand in their state of consciousness. Their universe is smaller. And we have to be willing to accept that. Now, as I continued with the wife of this beautiful couple that owns the convenience store, I said to her, you know, here's the funny thing. As our consciousness raises and we're willing to look upon each other as manifestations of the divine, people sense the inner peace within me. And that radiates out, whether they're aware of it or not, whether they're consciously aware of that's what's happening. There is a vibe that we put out, and other people are sensitive to that vibe. And even if we are in unconscious relationships, maintaining and putting out that beautiful vibration of our raised consciousness can be all it takes over time. So, on to the techniques. And Cindy, you know, I got to tell you, I'm so happy to see you. It feels like forever, and Kelly and I honestly miss you. We really do. And I'd love to hear more on the cats. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I see Susan is here too. Hello, Susan. Now there's someone else who I haven't seen in a while that I'm really happy to see again. Hello, hello, hello. You're just in time for the meat of things. So as I was saying, we're stuck in these unconscious relationships a lot of times, and stuck isn't even really the right word to use. And for the ones that we choose to stay in, there's a lot of techniques that will help us as our raised consciousness vibration slowly goes about doing its work. Okay? So, one of the things we can do, and I have quite a list here to go through, okay, is whenever we're involved in these sort of relationships and the other, in quotes, becomes highly emotional or agitated, which is often the case with ego, we face, especially as women, if it's a male, it can be quite intimidating as well. You know, and this is not fair, and nor is it right. But there are a number of steps that we can take. So first of all, one of the first things we can do is we can postpone things to give time for things to cool off. You know, if someone's highly agitated and they're not making a lot of sense and they're not really willing to talk, a lot of times the best thing to do is to remove yourself from the environment. To let them know that you care very deeply about what they have to say, but that you're not comfortable in the state they're in, and that you're fully willing to talk to them in the near future when they've had a chance to relax a little bit. Now that's an excellent technique you can use to diffuse the situation and allow tempers to calm. Avoid being pressured. You know, this is a common technique that people who are agitated will use. They will try to pressure you into agreeing with them, pressuring you into acknowledging their rightness. And you don't want to play into that. And you can literally feel pressure from another person when they want that from you if you pay attention. One of the easiest ways out from this pressure, and it's a very good trick that ego responds to almost immediately without any conscious awareness of it, is to ask the person a question. So, for example, if a person is very angry, you can say to them, I can see that you're very passionate about something. What is it you feel so strongly about? And then delve into that a little bit with them. You know, a lot of times we can ask questions like, how do you feel you can get what you want? Or what is it that you're actually looking for? right? These sort of questions lead the egoic manifestation and the unconsciousness going in the other, and it pulls it off to the side, and the energy becomes split, and they can no longer focus all of that negativity into where they were at. Part of it becomes split off, and that alone helps to diffuse the situation. You can affirm with people without agreeing with what they're saying, especially if you don't. And I recommend that you never agree with someone just for the sake of getting out from under their gaze or out of the situation. But what you can do is you can agree with various aspects of it that will lead them into believing that you are a friend. Cindy says, I dealt with that today. Got a message from a total stranger who judged me as evil for my expressions of who I am. Yeah, and I'm going to imagine that they were a Christian. And I've got a great little video and post to do on that a little bit later. But you know what, Cindy? The only thing you need to understand is that the other, it's not about you. It is a reflection of him or them. It is a reflection of them, not of you. You know, I know the beautiful, kind, loving person you are, and it is definitely a reflection of them. Much love to you always, hey? I mean, never doubt it, that's for sure. So, when someone does get angry about that, I mean, we can respond and work with that. So let's look at this situation, and I'm just going to, this isn't your exact situation, I'm sure, but I'm going to take my best Sherlock Holmes approach at it, okay? Is that it had something to do with your card reading or tarot cards or something along those lines. And you were attacked by a Christian out of anger who feels quite strongly about something, feels quite passionately, enough to be angry. And of course, what he feels so strongly about is his own religious belief. But then he tries to put that belief on you. And he's angry. Now, you really have two roads. I mean, you could accept that and say, you're right, I shouldn't be doing it, and stop doing it, like that would ever happen. But you are offered the opportunity to respond and say, I can see that you feel quite deeply about this. And I can also see how you would feel so strongly given your beliefs. And then open up a dialogue and see what happens. I'm not saying you even need to do that, but that is an option for you as well. One of the biggest things we can do, and this is a problem that many people have, and I'm continually speaking to Kelly about it. In unconscious states, when we're not giving our full attention to what it is we're supposed to be focusing on in that moment, we tend to listen to respond instead of listening to hear. So if we have allowed our own prejudgments to come into it, assuming I have no relationship with Jesus. I know people do that to me all the time too, and all I do is chuckle and say, you know what? I know the man really, really well. He and I sit down for a beer in a pub on the other side all the time. And that's usually enough to end it all right about there. Whatever you do, though, don't take it as a personal attack against you, because it's not. His view of the world, it's his interpretation. It's certainly not you. That's for sure. Listening to hear what another is truly saying, though, is definitely a skill, and that skill involves giving them our full attention. And when we give them our full attention, people can actually feel that we are attentive to them, that we are paying attention to them, and that itself can help to diffuse and relax. Not only that, when we listen to truly hear, it allows us to hear what's beyond the words. Because remember, just as Enigma says, The words are just foundations. We have to learn to see, beneath the frustrations, to read between the lines. Drop judgment, and I mentioned this briefly, and this is a big one. When someone's all up in our face and they're upset or whatever the case may be, a family member or otherwise, we tend to judge them immediately. And we have to remember our own unconscious states. Remember when we behaved similarly in the past. And be willing to let go of judgment for ourselves and judgment for the other we perceive in front of us as well. Reflecting respect and dignity back to the other person is very important as well. Whatever's going on with them, whether it's anger or sadness, any sort of suffering at all, we have an opportunity from our higher state of consciousness to reflect back to them the beauty and wonder and magnificence of their being as well. And this is not easy. It takes a little bit of practice, but here's one of the things, and it's a tiny bit of, and Cindy, that's the best. If you feel judged, offer what you want to create in return. Don't push up against the judgment. That was the best thing ever. You did exactly what you need to do. Offering someone judgment-free love in return, it doesn't really matter what they say after that. Anything they say negative after that, just, they're hanging themselves. You don't have to waste time anymore. You can just sit back and watch it happen. Maybe draw the little noose and the hangman, and every time they make another negative comment, you can draw in like the head and the arms and the legs, and they'll hang themselves. I tell Kelly the same thing all the time. I always throw the rope out, and I tell everyone I'm going to pull on the rope. Whether you choose to hold on for help or wrap it around your own neck is up to you. But I'm going to pull on the rope. I'm telling you now. That is awesome. So in doing so, Cindy, you did exactly what we're talking about. You reflected respect and dignity for the divine within him. Whether that was actually going through your head or not, doesn't really matter. That's what you did. Doing it out of a natural response is the best place ever. It really is. And it is the best way to help heal and raise the consciousness of others, is to be the reflection of what we truly know about ourselves. Now, another good technique, of course, is looking for the hidden need. Now, a lot of people have a hidden need when they're upset. And a lot of those needs can be involved in guilt or fear, and you will have to use your observations and listen closely between the lines. Learn to feel the other, even in their state of unconsciousness, and see what's going on. First and foremost, you as a sovereign being, no matter who you're dealing with, it doesn't matter whether it's your mother, your father, your child, your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your boss, God, the president, I don't care. You're entitled to set your boundaries for yourself and your state of being, which means you do not have to accept being yelled at, you do not have to accept being demeaned, and you do not have to accept anything at all that makes you feel like you're being put under stress. Now, you're going to say to me, well, wait a minute, I thought you said if I'm under stress that the stress is mine. And that's absolutely correct. But we have to respect and accept where we are in the moment. Despite the fact that there's only one or two little tiny things that can happen that would ever pull me out of my state of conscious awareness, I realize it happens, and I accept and respect that that's where I'm at. And I am very much aware of that when I find myself or see myself approaching one of those situations. I really hope that this has helped. I really hope that this allows you to deal with those unconscious relationships a little more easily, from a little higher place of being. You have to remember that whenever we feel like we're being attacked by someone for what we believe or what we know in our state of conscious awareness, it is the universe itself. It is that ruthless, loving life throwing something at you to say, really? Prove it to me. Right? Here's a little nasty situation for you. Show me what you got. Every experience, every encounter, every opportunity that we run into is exactly that. An opportunity to grow and evolve and show those around us what that growth and evolution can truly do for your being. Much love to you all today. If there's any questions at all, please ask them either right now or comment on this video. We're also going to share this onto our Facebook page as well. So we'll be there on the Awaken the World Facebook page and within the group. And seriously, I'm so happy to see the both of you today. I love being able to interact with you directly. I truly do. So all my love from, oh good, I'm glad Kitty. That's great. And all of Kelly's love too, you know. And hopefully we'll see you this evening on the Help Awaken YouTube channel for a glorious meditation, Hari Om, at 7:30. Again, all our love and take care.